Hi everyone, it's been a while since I've done a DIY video and I wanted to share this with you today. I had gotten a couple of questions about refilling mermaid markers, and as far as I know there are not refills available for mermaid markers, but there are a ton of different options out there if you want to reuse your markers once your ink is getting low. So the first one I'm going to show you is when your mermaid marker has gotten pretty low, and this one only had maybe 3/4 of an inch left of ink in the bottom, and it's the color coral. And because these colors are already so saturated, you can actually just add water, and I filled it up to about 3/4 of the way, and you'll see why in a second. So you give it a good shake, and you want to be able to not fill it up so much so that you can't shake it and get that water and ink mixed. And the color will change a little bit just as the color that was already in the barrel itself, inside the little container inside there that's got the original ink in it, starts to run out, so you can still see that the color is really vibrant. And the next thing you can do to add some glimmer to the mermaid markers is use some of your spray inks that have some mica in them. So I'm just using a Tattered Angels ink right now, and it has kind of a brown gold color. And so I just gave it a couple of eyedroppers full, and you want to be really careful about how full you make the barrel, because see how it's almost to the top right there. So again, you just want to be able to have enough wiggle room left in there that you can mix it. So this is a color called Deep Sea, and this one was almost completely empty. So to get a similar color, I just used the Dilutions purple color, and you could use an eyedropper. You could also use like a miniature funnel. You could use a pipette, which I've seen those at Michael's, and you can get them online too very easily. So now with this one, since I had already added a fair amount of the Dilutions ink, I end up overfilling this one. I wanted to see how it would mix with a distress stain because I really like this smoky hickory color, and I thought it would go well with the purple because it's already kind of a purple gray color, and it's a pretty muted color, very pretty. So I just gave it a couple of droppers full, and then you'll see that's why you don't want to overfill it. So see how much of the ink came out of there? This is a pretty messy project, as you can see, so definitely wear gloves if you don't want to dye your fingers, and you definitely want to protect your work surface, so that's why I spread out all the napkins. So I'm just going to turn to a new page here and show you what the purple looks like. So it's coming out more now, kind of like a violet shade, and this pen, for whatever reason, was not as juicy, and it may be because it's too full, and maybe I need to take out a little bit of the ink in order to get it to work properly and go through the brush. But there's actually a push, and you can see how I'm pinching my fingers there. There's a push spot on the actual barrel where you can push to get more ink to come out. And okay, so for this last part, I'm going to show you how to use India ink to refill your marker, and I completely took this one apart because I wanted to show you a little bit of what goes on inside the mermaid marker. So as you can see, the barrel itself is really clean. I did rinse out the brush too, but it still has a little bit of blue ink left in it. And There's actually like a little ink reservoir that is attached to the top part of the marker, and I didn't want to mess with that just in case, you know, if it's sealed in there in a certain way, I didn't want to break it. And I just want to say one disclaimer about the India ink is I have tried putting black India ink in the Pentel Aquash water brush before, and for whatever reason, because of the way the India ink is formulated, it eventually really caked up and it got to the point where I couldn't open the barrel anymore, and I couldn't use the barrel. So that's just one thing about India ink, is you might want to be careful. You might want to put, like what I'm doing here, I'm not filling it up all the way. You could fill it up the rest of the way with water and just maybe stick some washi tape on there to let you know that that's one that you filled with India ink, and you might want to rinse it out each time, not the barrel itself, but just all the components when you're done using it, to prevent it from gumming up like that. But the nice thing about India ink is that it is permanent and it's light fast. And this is the Bombay India ink, and because you can see, like right before I put that part back into the barrel, that reservoir of ink still has a lot of the blue in it, so the teal India ink is not going to show up for the first probably several uses, depending on how much you're using your mermaid marker. And I just started out by showing you like what was left in there, which is still that blue. And then, like with all the mermaid markers, when you push on that middle section, you can get a really, really deep saturated color. And I was trying to use the blue up as much as I could to show you the teal starting to come through. And I don't know how well it shows up on camera, but towards the bottom of the page, I was starting to slowly see a little bit of that blue-green show through. And then I just went on to use it some more and push some more to see if I could show you more of that blue-green. But as you can see, just with what little ink there was left in that reservoir, it actually still had a lot of the mermaid ink left in it, and when you push on it, you can get almost a black color. So that's pretty cool that you can stretch them that far. And another thing you can do with your mermaid markers, since the original set came with 20, I believe, you can use them just as water brushes. So you can use any type of water media like scribble sticks, the what are those called, the Neo color crayons, distress crayons, anything that activates with water, and watercolors themselves. You could easily use those with the mermaid markers filled with water. So thanks so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you in the next video. All right, take care.